right. Well, it is now 6 p.m. and this is the City of Iowa City formal meeting for June 17th, 2025. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Alter.
Here.
Fergus.
Here.
Harmson.
Here.
Moe.
Here.
Saleh.
Yeah.
Teague.
Here.
Wyline.
Here.
So I want to welcome everyone into your City Hall that's here with us today in person, and anyone that is joining virtually, welcome as well. We're going to start with items 2, which is proclamations. I'm going to go to 2B first, which is the LGBTQ plus Pride Month. And the proclamation reads, whereas LGBTQ plus communities across the nation annually celebrate pride in their culture and community in the month of June. And whereas the annual celebration of Pride began as a collective protest for the rights of LGBTQ plus individuals and communities. And whereas the national tradition of celebrating Pride in June is a tribute to the Stonewall riots of June 1969 in New York City, which are remembered as the launch of the modern LGBTQ plus rights movement. And whereas transgender persons of color, including Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Riviera, Stormy Day Laveria, were primary leaders in the Stonewall expression of just treatment for the LGBTQ plus people, and gave their work and lives to the cause. And whereas the City of Iowa City recognizes the many LGBTQ plus lives that continue to be lost each year in pursuit of living out their authentic identities, in particular, transgender persons of color. And whereas each year, Iowa City Pride brings together thousands of LGBTQ plus individuals from across Iowa and beyond to celebrate their shared identities and experiences. And whereas Iowa City Pride is celebrating its 55th annual Pride anniversary and the 56th anniversary of Stonewall this June. And whereas Iowa City Pride will host its annual Iowa City Pride on June 21st in downtown Iowa City, and I encourage all to attend this celebratory event, which includes a parade. Now, therefore, I, Bruce Teague, Mayor of Iowa City, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2025 to be LGBTQ plus Pride Month in Iowa City, and encourage all to reflect on the ongoing struggle for equality members of the LGBTQ plus community face, and celebrate the contributions that enhance our city. And receiving this is Faraji Hubbard, accepted on behalf of the Pride Committee.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem, councilors. This means a lot. It means a lot. As I'm, Faraji Hubbard, I'm Vice President of Iowa City Pride Board. On behalf of the Pride Board, just thank you for this support. As many of you know, this has been a really trying time, for the community. And the mission of the Iowa City Pride Board is to promote that positive visibility for the LGBTQIA plus community, right? And we want to bring that joy. We want a place where people can find that love, find that connection. And I can say that what you all have done, not just with your generous sponsorship of, our festival, but speaking out, right? Standing up and really supporting us, because I feel heard. I know many of us feel heard because of you all. So thank you. But get excited, because this is festival week, right? And if you're looking, in terms of the schedule of events, you can find us at iowacitypride.org, the full schedule. But for Saturday, things kick off at noon downtown. We have a wonderful parade. And believe it or not, this is going to be bigger and better than ever. It's already a record breaker for us when it comes to the entries. We have 145 plus vendors so far registered and 75 parade entries, right? So yeah, come on down. It's going to be a wonderful time. Again, parade kicks off at noon, and we have events all throughout the afternoon and into the evening. So get excited, and thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Always good to see our nighttime mayor as well. All right. We're going to go to Proclamation 2A, Juneteenth, National Freedom Day. Whereas Juneteenth, National Freedom Day, commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger led Union soldiers into Galveston, Texas, bringing news that the Civil War has ended and that the Emancipation Proclamation declared all slaves to be free. And whereas in 1866, Juneteenth commemorations began to be celebrated, consisting of prayer services, inspirational speeches, readings of the Emancipation Proclamation, food, games, and dances. And whereas Juneteenth reflects our community's deep belief in liberty and equality for all individuals. And whereas Juneteenth celebrates the strength and resolve of African Americans throughout history, and is an opportunity to honor African American culture, art, history, and achievement, as all benefit from a greater understanding and appreciation of the experiences of others. And whereas the first major Juneteenth celebration in Johnson County was hosted by Club Kazi, a group in 2007, whose name means to work in Swahili, and was held on June 26, 2011 at Mercer Park. And whereas beginning in 2020, the city of Iowa officially recognizes Juneteenth as a city holiday. And whereas this year's Juneteenth celebration includes multiple community events from June 15th through June 21st, featuring a family picnic, live performances, fashion showcases, community meals, and cultural reflections. The June 19th event is presented by the Black Voices Project at the South District Market. For full details, visit icjuneteenth.com. Now, therefore, I, Bruce Teague, do hereby recognize June 19, 2025 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Iowa City and encourage community members to participate in this commemorative event. All right. And what I know is that Royce Porter was to be here to receive this, but she's stuck in traffic. And just wanted to acknowledge all the folks that have been a part of putting Juneteenth events together in our community, Black Voices Project, Dream City, as well as the Juneteenth Committee. Appreciation for all the sponsors that have contributed, including the City of Iowa City as well as the county, and all the volunteers that go into making Juneteenth such a special time. So if she does come during public comment, we'll welcome her during that time. But we really we're really excited about the Juneteenth events that is going to be happening this year. All right, we're going to move on to our consent calendar, which is items 3 through 6. Could I get a motion, please?
Move to approve. Burgess.
Second.
All right, moved by Burgess, seconded by Wyline. And anyone from the public like to discuss anything? If you're online, please raise your virtual hand. This is anything on our consent agenda. See no one in person or online. Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Moe,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. We are on to community comment. This is an opportunity for folks to talk about anything that is not on our regular agenda, and this is item number 7. And we want to just remind folks that the public comment is intended so that members of the public may be heard by council. Because community comment is for items not properly noticed on the agenda, council cannot engage in discussion or debate due to open meeting laws. And if you're wanting to speak during this time, I invite you up to the podium. There is a sign-in sheet there, but there are also stickers at the back desk that you can drop in the bucket. Each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Welcome. Please state your name and city you're from.
Thank you. My name is Anthony Brown, and the city I'm from is Iowa City.
Great.
Council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. As you know, Iowa Code now expressly permits the use of consumer fireworks on July 3rd and 4th, preempting local ordinances to the contrary. While this legislative shift reflects a statewide consensus on the responsible enjoyment of fireworks during our nation's Independence Day celebrations, the law is not retroactive. As a result, individuals in Iowa City continue to bear the lasting weight of convictions under Ordinance 8512, convictions for conduct the state of Iowa now considers entirely lawful. This is both unjust and unnecessary. I urge this council to adopt a narrowly tailored ordinance vacating any prior municipal convictions under 8512 wherein the alleged fireworks use occurred on July 3rd or 4th and wherein all assessed fines have been paid in full. The remedy strikes a careful balance between accountability and fairness. It ensures that those who have satisfied their penalties are not perpetually burdened by the convictions for those acts, had they occurred today, would be entirely lawful. This is not about excusing misconduct, it's about correcting an injustice. Continuing to brand residents with criminal convictions for actions that are now fully legal under state law is punitive, irrational, and beneath the values this city claims to uphold. To leave their records stained for behavior that the state now welcomes on its most patriotic holiday is not only unfair, it is legally incongruous and morally indefensible. Laws evolve and justice must evolve with them. Please pass an ordinance vacating any past convictions under Ordinance 8512 that occurred on July 3rd or 4th and in which all fines have been paid in full. For any persons who wish to further discuss, please contact me by email, which is anthony.brown@live.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak during this time?
Is there a lady over here? No.
Welcome. Please state your name and city you're from. And there's a sign-in sheet or...
I've got stickers.
Perfect. Thank you. Welcome.
Never done this before. I like that system. My name is Bob Teig, sometimes pronounced Teague, so I've been looking up every now and then. I'm from Cedar Rapids, but I'm here to speak on behalf of my son, John, who lives in Iowa City, and I have a couple of handouts. Could I give those to the clerk? Is that all right? Thanks. I appreciate that. You may have seen my son, John, if you've ever gone to a Hawkeyes baseball game or a Colonels baseball game. John's been the bat boy for the Colonels. This is his 25th year. They're celebrating that on August 17th. He's been a volunteer bat boy with the Hawkeyes since 2009 when he was in the REACH program at the U of I. If you don't know about that program, find out about it. It's amazing. When John graduated from REACH, he decided he wanted to make Iowa City his home. He lives in a condo on his own on West Side Drive. He's got a half-time job at Shields. Sorry. John's on the spectrum, and it's kind of tough. But he pays his property taxes, and he pays his sewer taxes. And 10 days ago, we found out the city of Iowa City said they're going to sue him for a half month's wages. Did you know about that? I'm guessing no. And here's what it's about. If you turn to the second page, There is a detention pond behind 4 condo associations. Developer back in the day had to build that. And a few months ago, for the first time in probably 25 years, the city dropped on us a letter saying, you have to clean up that area. You have to cut down all these trees, you have to cut down brush, you have to trim the grass. It's not a park, it's a wildlife area. And they dropped that bomb on us. And it's not just us, I found out. It's other associations and homeowners that have detention ponds. I don't know who they are because they won't tell me. But the problem is John and the others, didn't plan for this, don't have the money for it. The city waited 25 years to bring this up. That makes it a little more expensive to have to do this. Now, I've got some issues whether there are easements that are valid or not, and Sue and I have gone back and forth, and there are arguments both ways, but I'm not here to talk about the legalities of the easements.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I have 2 other people that have deferred
Thank
their
you.
time to me. Can they
Thank you.
do that?
No, but they can come up and speak. But thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think they could.
Yep. Thank you.
I think the council rules allow for 1 other person to give you their time, but they would need to be identified so that they don't come and speak as well. I'm sorry, Mayor, to jump in. I hope that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know the rules.
Sure.
Maggie
Okay.
is one of the other residents there.
Okay, great.
I think you maybe know her. So what's happened is they've come in and say, you have to take care of this maintenance. My question is that fair? Since the time all this happened, the city has established a stormwater utility, and it charges everybody fees to take care of the drainage system. And that system says those fees are supposed to go to the maintenance. Well, it doesn't happen with the stormwater detention facilities, and is that fair? There are subsidies the city gives for people who get their lawns aerated. They can get up to $2,000. For people who put in a rain garden, they can get up to $3,000. For people who put in a green swale, they can get up to $3,000. For people who put in permeable pavers, they can get $3,000. But the people with these detention ponds in their backyard can get nothing. I ask you, is that fair? Considering the stormwater utility that didn't exist at the time these things were built. That detention facility doesn't really help the people who live there. All the water doesn't come from our parking lot. It comes from 850 acres upstream, homeowners and businesses. That causes the runoff. It protects thousands of people on hundreds of acres downstream from stormwater runoff. It's an important structure. But the question is, it's part of the stormwater drainage system of the city. Now, John pays if a storm sewer has to be fixed over by West High School. If somebody over by West High School, they don't have to pay for this drainage basin. There seems to be some inequity there. The stormwater funds had a surplus of $230,000 last year, is what I was told. This would cost John, like you say, half a month's pay. And there are 26,000 stormwater accounts for less than the price of a Diet Coke. Those fees could take care of this problem, and rightfully should. So I ask, will you look at this, please? Or and maybe Eric, will you at least hold off on Sue and John
Thank you.
until
Thank
they
you.
decide?
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak during this time? Okay,
My name is Mary Graff, and I live here in Iowa City. And I wanted to ask you a question about, that occurred on the June 3rd agenda. There was a speaker here from the wastewater treatment facility digestive complex rehabilitation. And he intimated that he was going to get money from the Inflation Reduction Act, Phase 1 for the project. But DOGE, or however you pronounce that, has stripped away so much money. So what happens if this project is not financed? Does this person go to the Supreme Court, or will you participate in a class action suit? Because somehow the city of Iowa City is going to be responsible for that. And then the next thing on here is about aid to agency. That was question 11C on the same agenda. No service, human services, should be zeroed out, and some was zeroed out. And if you look at these human services, they're connected to spider webs to other human services. So they shouldn't be zeroed out. So can't you go back and rework that finance agenda so none of them are zeroed out? And another thing that I hadn't intended to bring up, because I'm not a member of the Police Review Board, and they were here and you spoke about them on your work section. Why can't the Police Review Board be folded into the Civil Rights Board? Because most people, when they don't like police and they call the cops, want to complain, they're complaining because they feel that their civil rights have been violated, no matter the trouble they've been causing in the beginning to make the police act a certain way, and then some police act that way. And you were talking about the meetings. We did have meetings here at the city library, down at the library, and they had a new police chief. But I didn't like him too much because he thought that 14-year-olds should learn how to shoot. And 14-year-olds were attending the Iowa City Public Library. So that wasn't very good. But, it's just certain things. Will the city be liable for that wastewater treatment? And will that person who spoke come back and speak again and see if he has the money or he will get the money? Because if you're zeroing out the charities, you need the money because they are so useful. Housing to homes is part of the charities, and they all spiderweb in together. So something has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak during this time? Please come forth.
Thank
Welcome.
you for having me. My name is Douglas Burrier.
If you will use the mic, please.
What? The mic, okay.
Thank you.
So, my name is Douglas Burrier, and you probably don't want to hear from me because I live at 102 Hilltop Trailer Court, that part of the city you people like to ignore, We have all sorts of crime going on down there, transients coming through, breaking windows, breaking into people, robbing people, destroying our property, walking on private property, and the police come down and say, oh, we'll make a report. What kind of protection is that? You people caused the property. You people caused the problem. Trailer court was there long, long before any of this government welfare crap was going on the south side. You refused to protect us in the trailer court. You could have put up a security fence long ago. It isn't up to the owner to provide that fence. It's up to the city. You caused that situation. I've been in the same place for 58 years. I've seen what happened. You pushed all the welfare crap down our throat, devalued our property. When I moved in there, that was upper middle income. The kid across the street was working on his doctorate. The guy across the street, another doctorate. Larson worked at Hawkeye State Bank as a teller. I was a union carpenter, and the guy down the street was an engineering student that helped lay that place out. I want to know why the city continues to ignore what's going on down there. You know, you have all these transients coming through like they can't do any wrong. You realize, you know, that there's drugs being dealt out of those shelter houses. I can even point to the people that are doing. A woman came in the other night and broke a guy's windshield. He reported to cops. He could have identified her, and the cop refused to take the report. Well, we can't do anything about it. We're tired of your crap. You either report us or you're going to have a civil lawsuit, you know, against the city. We're tired of it. You're tired of us, you ignoring us. You're tired of living in the armpit of Iowa City that used to be one of the upscale neighborhoods. You know, you can do all this charity work you want to. Take it to your turf, okay? We don't want it anymore. You know, first it was Mecca, which was okay. Then it was Haycap. Then it was abused women with drug problems that have kids. 2 weeks out open, some kid got stabbed in there. Now you got all this welfare stuff down there, you know. You might think you're doing a big deal, but you're not. You know, you're bringing inner cities people from here with absolutely no morals, and it keeps getting worse. What are you guys going to do about it? That's my question.
Anyone else are you done? Sorry.
That's it.
All right. Yep. I think we have one more speaker over here.
A couple more, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great. Welcome. Please state your name and city you're from.
I'm Craig Cornell. I'm from Iowa City. And like Bob Teague, I'm a resident of the Lake Point condominium project on the retention pond. And I'm one of the owners that's going to be stuck with what looks like a $20,000 bill, my share. My wife and I share. And I don't really know what the informal process is or the formal process. But one of the issues that Bob stated that I want to repeat is the brush and the growth that's there has been growing for 20 years. So it's a big deal that we are being asked to foot the whole bill for fixing it now. And so again, I'm not sure what the formal or the informal process is, but I'd like to know, and I'm sure Bob would like to know, or at least appeal to you for someone to look into it and perhaps get back to one of us, or you can have one of your administrative people get back to us. They all know Bob Teague, so that can be done hopefully soon, because every owner, and you can imagine the shock, received a letter from the city saying that we're on the line for all that money, and that at some undisclosed future date, they're going to bring a lawsuit against us. So please help. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak during this time? Yep. Can I have a hand of everyone that would like to speak that is remaining? Okay, great. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. All right, welcome. 5 with the person in front of us.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi.
Please state your name and city you're from.
Yes, thank you. John Kenyon from Iowa City. Good evening. I'm the executive director of the UNESCO City of Literature organization and the co-chair of the X Marks the Arts marketing campaign to market and promote the downtown cultural and entertainment district. And I'm here on behalf of a number of arts and cultural organizations and the folks who work in them to speak with you about the proposed local auction sales tax, and specifically to ask that you allocate to arts and culture a full 10% of that revenue. We're glad to live in a community where arts and culture are a priority, and we're glad to see that it was part of the proposal that initially came to you. But we also see that the plan calls for 10% to be allocated to a number of different partnerships, arts and culture among them. This can lead to an unwelcome situation where different worthy sectors compete for funds. This is not ideal, and we believe it's unnecessary. We know from your earlier discussion that there's flexibility in how certain things are categorized that would enable funding for necessary infrastructure as well as dedicated funding for arts and culture and social services and other partnerships, while maintaining the amount earmarked for affordable housing needs in our city. We know sales taxes are regressive. Support for arts and culture can be an effective way to mitigate some of the regressive nature of that tax. Most of the organizations and initiatives supported by city funds offer free programming, making the arts accessible to everyone in the community regardless of income. In addition, the arts are an effective way to build community, bringing people together and fostering engagement with key issues facing our city. According to a recent arts and economic prosperity study of our area, arts and culture derive more than $32 million in economic impact annually in Johnson County. They produce more than 500 jobs and generate spending from out-of-county visitors that will directly contribute to lost revenues, resulting in a net positive from this investment. And Iowa Cityans love the arts. The results of a survey released by the city at the beginning of the year found that 92% of respondents found that education, arts, and culture were excellent or good, which was the highest rating for any sector, and 77% rated it as essential or very important. So there are very many good reasons to allocate 10% of the lost proceeds to arts and culture. It would mitigate some regressive aspects of the tax. It would help organizations to provide free programming for all residents and to build community. It would make an investment with an extraordinarily positive rate of return, and it would support something that Iowa Cityans cherish. So we hope you will take this into consideration and welcome the chance to be a part of the conversation as you work toward a decision. So, thank you.
Thank you. And please state your name and city you're from. Welcome.
My name's Isabella Vine. I'm from Iowa City, and I forgot my notes, so please forgive if I'm just a little bit disorganized. I'm here about the problems at Hilltop Mobile Home Park. I live there with my mother because she cannot live alone. That place has become a disaster, a very dangerous disaster. There are transients coming in and out continually. They hang out at the mailbox area in the front of the park, use it as a toilet. You go in there half the time, you can find them engaging in sexual acts or squatting to relieve themselves. The mailman can't even stand it. We call the police all the time because there is so much criminal activity, so much drug use that they bring in. They will stand at the front of the park and actually heat up spoons of whatever. My daughter tells me it's probably meth. And then they shoot it in their arms, and kids are around. Their own kids are there. Nothing is ever done. I was actually told by the police once, well, I'm sorry, the city will not allow us to do anything, so don't call us again unless it's a matter of life and death, okay? The police told me that. This is not right. Most of the people in that park are good people. There's always bad people somewhere, but most of them there are good, decent people, and they have children. Because we're in the front of the park, I have seen children ride their bikes up and down, and they get accosted verbally by all of these transients saying, hey, give me that bike. Give me some money, kid. I had 2 people from the homeless shelter come up. Hey, do you know where we can get some drugs? You know, I'm clean, but I still need something right now to get over it. Our house has been, they've attempted to break into our place 3 times. Police have done nothing. I watched my neighbor's car get busted up by someone who was a total nutcase. Police would not even give him a copy of the report if they did anything at all. Something needs to be done. There are right now, I counted 24 tents right there on the edge of the lawn. All night, they party, scream, yell, fight. The police just should set up a community building there because they're there most of the time. I know my time is up, but something needs to be done, and you need to address this.
Thank you. Welcome.
So
Please.
I'm new also. I'm not good at public speaking, so I will do my best.
Please state your name and city you're from, and then
So-
there will be a sign-in.
Okay. So Diane Weber, I also live at Hilltop Mobile Home Park. I've been in there for at least, probably close to at least 45 years plus. It used to be a great park until they decided to build that shelter over there, and it's become a living nightmare. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I'd like all of you to put your shoes in our feet and live there for 1 week and see exactly what we endure every day over there. It's nonstop. I take my dogs out every night. I have obviously a routine. I take them out every night, and I'm very close to the shelter. And the business that's right behind me is Hawkeye Auto. And they obviously know what's going on. Constantly people back there behind the business back there going to the bathroom, smoking their weed, doing whatever they feel like it, setting up whatever they want. You know, I hear so many nights when I go out there, they're fighting, they're screaming. Every other word is a cuss word. And you know how tiring that gets to listen to that almost every single day? I'm not exaggerating. And I am as tired of it as I could possibly be. And I'm like, I feel like I should not have to move because of how they behave. You know, they're behaving like a bunch of little, I don't know what. I don't even want to say it because I'm trying to be civil. But they just carry on and on. I mean, it's nonstop. Like today, for example, I was going out of the park right past the tents, and a gentleman, I stopped to let him go, to go in front of me with his bicycle, and he literally spit at my car. Like, is that okay? I don't think that's okay. You know, I've also had instances where I've gone out of the park and a lady was walking across right there at the stop sign right there at Southgate Avenue and Waterfront, and I'm like, I was waiting for two people to cross, and she had a cup of coffee in her hand, and I let them pass far enough in front of me, and all of a sudden she throws her cup of coffee at my car. I mean, good Lord. I mean, these people are literally, I'm sorry, out of control. And like I said, it's a nightmare every day because I hear it constantly because my trailer is so close to where the shelter house is. And a lot of them hang out, like I said, right back behind Hawkeye Auto's business. And it's like trying to start wood on fire and pieces of wood on fire, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what they're all doing, but it's just gotten out of hand. Anyway, no, my time's up. I hope you guys do something about it. Thank you.
I think we have two more speakers. Please come up at this time. Welcome. Please state your name and city you're from.
Bonnie Neff, Iowa City. I also live at Hilltop. I've lived there 34 years. It has gotten very bad.
Please use the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It's gotten very bad. I'm afraid to go get my mail. One time I go in there, there's a lady sitting on the floor, cold concrete. She goes, oh, it was cold outside, so I come in here. Another time, we have a brick ledge, and they're having a party there. There's about 20 of them, and they have a little grill. How do I know they're going to put out that fire properly? And the baby was playing in the sand. As I turned, I slowed down, and then finally the mother grabbed her. But it's just getting very bad. Last week I went in to get my mail about 7 a.m. Here's a grocery cart and clothes, threw it all over. I told the Scott that works for the court. He says, yeah, I'll go down and clean it up. He says, I haven't been there yet, but why should he have to clean up after all this? And then I see today when I come in, and that's the thing, we only have one entrance and exit, and it's past all those tents and people. And sometimes when I drive up, they're just milling around. You don't know what they're going to pull, you know. I just want to get up to my house. And now they're starting to congregate over by the mailbox, whoops, and sit on the ledge there like they own it. And it just makes Hilltop look bad. And I hope you can find some solutions.
Thank you. Welcome. Please state your name and city you're from.
My name is Joel Fagan. Is this okay?
Yes.
I haven't signed in yet, but I can do that. I'm here to say a few things about essentially the same problem that all the folks from Hilltop are talking about. I don't live at Hilltop, but I am a neighbor to the 501 building, which is one of the buildings associated with the shelter house, though it's not actually a shelter. I have a commercial building at 505 Southgate. My property borders the parking lot of the 501 building. I'm there every day, sometime between 6 and 7, to clean things up. So I have a very close-up view of what happens in the parking lot that belongs to the 501 building, which is part of the shelter house. And I don't have any quarrel with the city in its effort and interest in establishing some kind of way of handling the homeless population. I mean, that's something that needs to be done. It's a big problem. It's not even a city problem or a state problem. It's a national problem, and we're in it. I also don't have any quarrel with the shelter house attempting to do something good with that population. Indeed, the 24 tents that I forget who mentioned, those are, what it looks like to me and probably the rest of the neighborhood is, that's overflow from the shelter house, and they're not able to take all that stuff. Now, the problems, the close-up, day-to-day, difficult issues that I see appears to be due to the overflow population of homeless people and transient type people that seem to gather in the neighborhood, namely next to the 501 building, next to and around the shelter house building. What I see is in the area behind my building is on the border both between the 501 shelter house building and the mobile home park. It's what seems to be an attractive grassy area to the people that need a place to be. So their trash accumulates there, human excrement accumulates there. Indeed, in the parking lot next to my property, in the parking lot that belongs to the 501 building, there is, in fact, today, the remnants of a deposit, there's no way to put this gently, a deposit of human excrement on a concrete slab. It's been there for over a month. The remnants of it are still there now. I'll be there tomorrow between 6 and 7 to clean up other things on my lot. If you'd like to have a tour and a view of what's happening there, I'll be happy to point things out to you. Now, what it says to me is I think it's fine that the city helped the shelter house find a place to be. And it's
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody want to give me another minute?
I don't think you can, I don't think that's appropriate, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we do ask for only 3 minutes. Thank you. All right. Thanks to everyone that came to speak. The council did hear you all. We're going to move on to item number 8, which is planning and zoning matters. 8A is a rezoning north of East Foster Road. Ordinance conditionally rezoning approximately 2.69 acres of land located north of East Foster Road between North Dubuque Street and Prairie du Chien Road from high-density single-family residential with a planned development overlay zone to high-density single-family residential zone. This is the second consideration, and the applicant is requesting expedited action. And I'll have someone read that for us. Yes.
I move that the rule requiring that ordinances must be considered and voted on for final passage at 2 meetings prior to the meeting at which it is to be finally passed be suspended, that the second consideration and vote be waived, and that the ordinance be voted on for the final passage at this time.
Moved by Mo,
Second.
seconded by Burgess. All right. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? If you're online, please raise your virtual hand. Seeing no one in person or online. Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Can I get a motion to pass and adopt?
So moved, Mo.
Second, Alter.
Roll call, please.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence?
So moved, Mo. Second.
Moved by Mo, seconded by Wyline. All right. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. So we did receive correspondence during community comment. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence for this item?
So move, moved.
Second, Sala.
Moved by Alter, seconded by Sala. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We're moving on to 8C.
B.
8B.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird. 8B is rezoning south of East Foster Road. Ordinance rezoning approximately 2.69 acres of land located south of East Foster Road between North Dubuque Street and Prairie du Chien Road from high-density single-family residential zone to a high-density single-family residential with a planned development overlay. This is the second consideration, and applicant is requesting expedited action.
I move that the rule requiring that ordinances must be considered and voted on for final passage at 2 council meetings prior to the meeting at which is to be finally passed be suspended, that the second consideration and vote be waived, and that the ordinance be voted on for final passage at this time.
Moved by Mo,
Second. Harmson.
seconded by Harmson. Anyone from the public like to discuss this topic? Seeing no one in person or online. Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Mo,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Could I get a motion to pass and adopt?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Sala, seconded by Alter. Roll call, please.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence?
So moved, Burgess.
Second, Mo.
All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Now, 8C, rezoning North Governor Street. Ordinance conditional rezoning approximately 5.49 acres of property located between North Dodge and North Governor Street from medium-density single-family residential zone, high-density single-family residential zone, medium-density multifamily residential zone, and multifamily residential zone to a high-density single-family residential zone with a planned development overlay for approximately 0.17 acres and to medium-density multifamily residential zone with a planned development overlay for approximately 5.32 acres. And applicant is requesting deferral to August 5th. And could I get a motion to defer until August 5th, 2025?
So moved, Wyline.
Second, Alter.
Council discussion.
Can you, sorry, I think this is for the city manager. You explained it once before. Why is the, just sort of for clarity's sake, why the request for deferral? It was so that the plat could be finalized, is that correct?
No, the plat is also on the agenda, would also be requested to be deferred.
Oh.
John Marner with MMS Consultants is here on behalf of the developer. It'd probably be best for them to answer that if council is willing to.
Yeah, I'd like to know. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. John Marner with MMS Consultants representing the applicant. Essentially, it's an effort on our part. I know there's been a lot of discussion about coordinating site plan, design concerns, sidewalk, the building design, a lot of those components. We're still ironing out some of the details with city staff on some of those things. We're trying to line everything up together just so we can have one unified packet. I understand site plans, those are administrative staff approval only. They don't come before council. We want to make sure that we have everything buttoned up as one package before it comes to you for final consideration and adoption.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. All right. If no further council discussion, roll call, please.
Teague,
Yes?
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Sala.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence?
So move, Sauter. Second, Burgess.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 8D, final plats. Scarlett Point Subdivision. Resolution approving final plat of Scarlett Point re-subdivision of lots 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Bacon Subdivision and lots 49, 50, and 51 of subdivision of Southeast Quarter Section 3-T79N-RN -R6W, Iowa City, Iowa. This applicant is requesting deferral to August 5th. Can I get a motion, please?
So move, Burgess. Second.
Moved by Burgess, seconded by who?
Sauter.
Saleh. Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Wyline,
Yes.
Alter,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Harmson,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Sala,
Yes.
Teague.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. We are on to item number 9, which is our regular formal agenda. 9A, electric and gas franchise fees. Ordinance amending Title 12, Chapter 5, franchise fees to repeal the 1% franchise fee and enact a 2% franchise fee on the gross revenue derived from the distribution, delivery, and retail sale of electricity and natural gas by franchises including Mid-American Energy Company or other natural gas providers and utilizing the distribution system of Mid-American to customers within the current or future corporate limits of the City of Iowa City, and to describe the purpose of the revenue collected. I'm going to open the public hearing, and welcome.
Thanks. Kirk Lehman, Assistant City Manager. Just wanted to kind of remind you of why this is before you again and talk a bit about why it's important, some of the logistics. So with the Fare Free Transit project that we established in August 1st, 2023, that was a pilot that really embodies a lot of what Iowa City does. It embodies our climate action goals, our equity goals as well. When we established that program with 2 years, we knew that there was an end to that. And that was really because it was originally funded by those federal funds from the government, the ARPA funds. And as part of your strategic plan for FY 23 and 28, we wanted to look at alternative revenue sources that would help continue to sustain that program. Before I get into it a little bit, I did want to share some fun facts about our pilot program since we are coming close to an end. It ends August 1st, 2025. In the first year, we saw a 43% increase in ridership, which is more than 3 times what we saw in similar agencies. And in our second year, we're estimated to finish with another 17% ridership increase. Again, more than 3 times higher than what we see in other transit agencies. So it has been really successful in shifting ridership to our transit as it's helped mobility for thousands of residents across Iowa City. In total, we're expecting approximately 700,000 more rides on transit for a total growth of about 68% in ridership throughout the course of the pilot. So lots of positive things that we've seen. That's equivalent to approximately taking more than 5,000 vehicles off the road or comparable to the annual energy use of nearly 3,000 homes. So really successful in terms of our goals. Our goal is to hit 1.9 million rides by 2030, and we're currently in 2025 We shot over our goal by 10%, and this year we're expected to, again, overshoot our goal, so we're well on track to hit our goals. It also has additional benefits, including on-time performance, which increased by 7%, so it's now at 75%, and it's put an estimated $3 million back in the pockets of Iowa City riders. So lots of positives that we've seen, which really speaks to why it's important to look at some of these alternative revenue sources. So as part of our revenue package that we've looked at, the first step was taken in FY25 with your budget, where you increased some parking fees to help support this as the lion's share of where that revenue would go. And in your FY26 budget that you recently passed, you also noted the franchise fee as a possibility. So that is included in your 26 budget, and this is really implementing that fee and putting it into effect so that it can continue to support fare free transit in the future. So I do want to temper that a little bit. So while this will put us on firm financial footing for the near future, what we have seen is that with franchise fees, those tend to be relatively stable incomes, or a relatively stable revenue source, especially as we see homes become more energy efficient. So there is a possibility that more funding will be needed in the future, but this should set us on a firm financial footing for the near future. So moving away from that big picture topic, what is a franchise fee? How does it work? Franchise fee is really a franchise tax that goes on the gross revenues for the sale of natural gas and electricity. Cities are allowed to establish a fee of up to 5%, and changing the fee only requires that council hold a public hearing, pass an ordinance, and that they state the purpose of their revenues as part of that ordinance. So we currently have a 1% franchise fee that's established. The goal of that fee, or the purpose statement that we adopted for that fee, was overseeing the franchise, enhancing public safety, and funding public infrastructure to support economic development. So what we are proposing then is implementing that increase of 1% to 2% that would allow us to help sustain fare-free transit. And it's estimated to generate approximately $1 million in revenue annually. The other thing I want to talk about is that revenue purpose statement. So currently, the revenue purpose statement that was previously adopted is tied to those specific 3 topics that were listed in the revenue purpose statement. It does need to be updated to allow any expenditures on our transit system, which is an allowable use under state code, but staff does recommend increasing the scope to include all of the allowable uses that are in state code. So in the ordinance that you have before you, it does include all of those uses. The reason we recommend that is really because it does allow that maximum flexibility in addressing council priorities with the ability to fund transit as part of that. And that would be identified within your annual budgeting process. In terms of timing, our franchise agreement requires 90 days notice. And that would mean that we are looking at having the effects go into the change go into effect, excuse me, I knew there was something wrong there. The change go into effect on November 15th, 2025. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Don't hear any questions. We're going to go to public comment. If anyone would like to discuss this, if you're online, please raise your virtual hand. See no one in person or online. I'm going to close the public hearing. Could I get a motion to give first consideration, please?
So moved. Sorry, second.
Moved by Alter, seconded by Harmson. All right, council discussion.
I'm so sorry, Kirk, but I just got a question. I'm so sorry. If that's okay.
Absolutely,
okay.
Yeah. You
Sorry.
can still ask questions.
The $1 million, approximate $1 million annually that we are getting, is this funding that is going to exceed our ARPA allowances towards fare-free transit and would provide us with the ability to expand routes or frequency?
So this is mostly kind of replacing that in addition to the parking fees. So no, this is really maintaining our current transit system fare-free. That's what this allows.
Okay, thank you.
If I could just tag on to that, it's likely that this won't be the forever funding source. It's probably going to need to be supplemented again in the future. This tax is fairly flat. So even as our population grows, you have energy efficiency improvements with appliances and just people being more conscious. So we see this really being flat, whereas transit expenses typically are growing anywhere from 4 to 7%. Based on operational inputs. So while we think that this will be, combined with parking fees, will be sufficient for several years, it's likely a future council will have to look at this puzzle again and decide whether it continues to be in our best interest to offer fare free.
I hate to put you on the spot, but several years, is that 3, 4, 15,
Well,
20?
So much is going to depend on federal funding. A lion's share of our operational dollars come from the federal government. So the next time there's a transportation reauthorization bill, which typically takes place every 5 years, we'll know. If there's a significant cut, it could be 1 or 2 years. If it's status quo or increase in funding in the transportation reauthorization bill, it could last for a decade or more.
Okay, thanks.
And to give you some context, for FY26, we're estimating $1.1 million in COVID relief being used for this, but that is with $800,000 going towards the fare-free program. And then moving forward, we'll see how things shake out.
Yeah, I was also, when I was talking with some folks at the transit facility, they said that there were some ideas around different types of advertisement within newer models of buses that might have some type of revenue potential in the future. I don't know if you've heard anything about that or if that's like a future thing that we could look into as well.
Yeah, we've, over the years, discussed whether to open up advertising on our buses. We've done some limited in the past with, I can remember Daily Iowan being on the back of a lot of the buses' advertisements. We have a marketing agreement with Mid-American Energy on our electric buses. And we've explored kind of one-off situations, but never a full-blown advertisement. It's something that we could look at. What we have been looking at in the meantime is a campaign for those that want to contribute to sustain. If you have the ability to pay and you're inclined to do so, to be able to text, while you're on the bus, text a donation that would go to a fund just to sustain it. So that's kind of where our initial focus is. And I think that came up in council budget discussions a year or two ago. So actually originated with the council. But we could look at advertising again, both on the buses, and you can also look at that as we expand our benches and our shelters. We'd want some council input because people feel very differently about that, and the city also has restrictions on our ability to limit content in a great way. So you have to be kind of open to a lot of different kinds of advertising, and that can lead to some interesting policy discussions.
So we couldn't just say no cigarette ads or something like that? Or,
that would be a discussion we would have to have.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Alter?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Moe?
Yes.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. 9B, fiscal year 26 Stormwater Improvements Project. Resolution approving project manual and estimate of cost for the construction of the fiscal year 26 Stormwater Improvement Project. Establishing amount of bid security to accompany each bid. Directing city clerk to post notice to bidders and fixing time and place for receipt of bids. I'm going to open the public hearing and welcome Tim.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tim Schmedeke, and I'm a civil engineer here in the engineering department. The fiscal year 2026 Stormwater Improvements Project is an annual project done to repair badly damaged stormwater infrastructure that includes stormwater pipes, intakes, and manholes. There are currently 3 locations for this project that are in need of repair. There will be additional locations added throughout the fiscal year as issues arise. The first location is Greenwood Drive. This location will be constructed when football is out of season, as there is a parking area that is used and there's a storm sewer that needs to be removed and replaced there. There are also 4 intakes that are in rough shape, and there are 2 legs of storm sewer pipe that connect both intakes, so those will all need replaced there. The second location is Wild Green Road. There are 3 intakes there, and there will be 2 legs of stormwater pipe that connect all 3 intakes that are going to be replaced. The third location is Clover Street. There are 2 intakes there that are in need of repair, and there is 1 leg of stormwater pipe, that connects both intakes, and then a second leg that goes from 1 intake to a nearby creek. The estimated construction cost of this project is $350,000, which is based upon the 3 sites that we currently have. The bid opening is July 2nd, and the contract will be awarded July 8th. The construction schedule is set for, at the earliest, beginning in July of this year, and then we'll finish in June of 2026. Here's how I can be contacted. That's all I have. Are there any questions?
Do you have you said that, excuse me, one of them would not be done based on its location because of, I know exactly where it is, because of football season, but do you have a schedule of what place is first? I mean,
What place is first?
Yeah. I mean,
that would be up to the contractor.
Oh, okay.
Understanding from where they could, based on their timeline, the work needed to be done, and then how long that would take. So that's really up to the contractor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you. Great. Anyone from the public like to address this topic?
I have some questions.
If you would like to address this topic, you'll be invited. You can come up and you can speak. The council will not be able to answer any comments, but during council deliberations, should a council member choose to address anything mentioned, that will be at the discretion of the council.
I'm sorry, I thought with the public hearing, I could ask the presenter the questions.
No, you can speak at this time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
all right. Welcome.
Thank you. I was wondering where the manual is. It says a project manual is going to be approved, and I couldn't find that online. Do you know where, have you seen it? And can you tell me why it's not online or it's not in the materials in the packet today? So I can't comment on it because I haven't seen it. I've tried to find it. The other thing I was going to ask, if there are, it says other sites could be added. I wondered how sites could be added. And you won't talk about that. Is anyone willing to discuss this with me, since you can now, since it's a public hearing and under open meetings, you're free to discuss it. Is anyone willing to answer my questions?
I think, as the mayor said, we're going to discuss this during discussion, and maybe we will bring what you said.
Okay. So those are my concerns. I haven't seen the project manual. I've asked for another project manual that the city site said is being developed, and I was told it won't be given to me, and because it's still in draft form. I'd ask that you provide that to me. You don't have to hold that back if you don't want to. And since it's a draft, it would seem logical to make it available as it's being considered in draft form. Usually it's easier to fix something before it's been set in stone. So that's another request. I made that request to the city engineer, and I talked to Ms. Dudek tonight, and she said she wouldn't give it to me, but the council has the authority, so I would ask that you would give that to me so we could look at. Just trying to work through these things. Also wanted to know what the surplus funds were in the utility fees. Again, had information, it was over 230,000 from last year. I don't know where we are this year. Obviously, my interest is not just this detention pond behind John's place, but the others, and whether utility fees really should be paying for that, like they are for these sewers that are way across town from John's place, but John's paying for those. But the people by those sewers aren't paying for this detention pond. And that strikes me as something at least that deserves consideration. And if you say, this is what we decide, that's your decision. But I would at least ask the council to make that decision. As you know, the goal is to govern fairly, and that's all I'm asking. Thanks.
Thank you. And I just want to read this for clarity. Sometimes I take for granted that we have new people and don't know all the council rules. I'm going to read this. Council cannot engage in discussion or debate until the appropriate time for council discussion. However, once the commenter has left the podium, council may ask staff to respond to a concern or question posed by the public or to follow up with the speaker. So I just wanted to read that, and sorry for not reading that for our newbies. And this is posted on our agenda at the top of our agenda, and it's on every one of our agendas. All right. Anyone else like to address this topic? If you're online, please raise your virtual hand. All right, seeing no one else in person or online, I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Scarlett, seconded by Wyline, and council discussion.
Yeah. Can we answer, can the staff answer the question, please?
I'm sorry, there were a number of questions that Mr.
Yeah,
Teig
the
raised.
project manual and the sphere brass, that's what I wrote here. Is there another question?
Typically, that's available in the city clerk's office. No, I have not viewed it there myself, so I can't swear to that, but that is typically how it's handled.
And is it like available for the public?
I believe so.
Okay.
So just walk into the clerk's office and ask for it, or email them?
Well, normally those files are such a size that it would be difficult to email, but certainly they could walk in and view it under normal circumstances during office hours.
For the public's benefit, could you explain what a project manual is?
Well, I could, but I suspect that any number of the engineers at the back of the room could probably do a better job than me. No one's taking the bait.
Sure. Maybe one of the engineers, Jason or Ron, could come up.
Jason Havel, city engineer. So the project manual typically includes the plans and specifications for the project. So it's what the contractor uses to submit their bid.
And do we use a public plan room typically for city public bids?
So we use
Technographics, Rapids, and Dodge.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's and then we post the link on our website, and then it's on the I'm drawing a blank, but the state builders site as well.
Yeah, MBI. So you can look at it from home or come into the clerk's office to see them.
Okay. I think there was another question about, there were 3 affected sites. I think
Right,
there was a
could there be
question
more?
of how to add additional sites, or a process in which, was that your question, sir?
Yes, that was one. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you want to just come back up and explain what circumstances might arise throughout the year that would allow us or have us add to this contract?
Take this one. So if we discover a sinkhole or a damaged pipe, we can issue a change order to the contractor, and we can have that pipe and pavement repaired at the unit prices that were bid as part of this project.
And this contractor is what?
Can you speak to the mic, please?
Yep. Yeah, so if we award this contract based on, bid prices, if a new site happens to come up, let's say a sinkhole develops overnight and we need to repair it right away, we can have that contractor make that repair under those unit prices. So it would be added as a change order.
And just please state your name for the.
Yeah, my name's Ben Clark with engineering.
Thank you.
Also, how much we have in the surplus? Last year, he said 200,000, even I don't know that. So how much is now?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the adopted budget, which is available on our city website. The 2025 fiscal year in which we're wrapping up right now, at the end of June, that'll close out. We project total revenues of $3 million and total expenditures of 2.87, so a little over 100,000 in surplus, which was projected by the budget. Where we will officially end, we won't know that until probably October when we close the books, because we use an accrual accounting system.
So for example, this project is estimated at $350,000, but it could be $450,000.
Correct.
When bids come in for it.
Sure. Fair enough.
Yeah, looking ahead to the fiscal year 26 budget, we project $3 million, $23,800 in revenues, and we expect expenditures of 3.3. So we anticipate running a deficit in fiscal year 26.
I guess when I asked the city attorney, I know the subject that we're dealing with is completely different than the complaint. So do you think we can just handle this different, or we can speak about it now? If we have any question about the issue that arising and the people was talking about it, even though it have nothing to do with this.
Oh, I would suggest that you could not address anything other than this item at this
Sure.
time, if that's what
All
you're
right.
asking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Anything else by council?
No.
Roll call, please.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Moe?
Yes.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Alter?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. 9C, Iowa City Senior Center BAS project. Resolution approving project manual and estimate of cost for the construction of the Iowa City Senior Center BAS project. Establish an amount of bid security to accompany each bid. Directing city clerk to post notice to bidders, and fixing time and place for receipt of bids. I'm going to open the public hearing and welcome again, Ben.
Hi, it's Ben Clark, Engineering Division. So this project is going to attempt to fix some of the heating and cooling issues at the senior center. So the base bid includes just integrating the controls of the equipment there to the city's building automations, their network system. Don't have a lot to show you for what the project looks like, but this is a sort of a screen grab of the user interface of the building automation system. And you can see there are a number of buildings on the left already hooked up to that system. There are 2 slots at the bottom for future expansion. So one of them would be for the senior center. And if you, just for an example, if you were to click on City Hall, it'll bring up this screen. You can see on the left, you can take a look at what's going on the different floors. On the right, you can drill down to different equipment. So this would be an example of the first floor of City Hall. It'll show you what temperatures the different rooms are at. If you select on a piece of equipment, it'll show you what's going on with that piece of equipment. You can see it'll send alarms if things go bad. You can program different schedules, change the temperature, that kind of a thing. So that's what we're hoping to do at the senior center. The estimated cost is $278,000. We'll take bids July 23rd, and basically hope to have it done this fall with sort of testing and balancing in the winter. And I should add too, we're adding, there are 3 bid alternates that we hope to select that include sort of energy improvements. One would be rearranging some of the ductwork in the kitchen that'll reduce the amount of outside air that system brings in. The second one would be adding some variable speed drives to the pumps for the boiler system. And then the third would be rezoning the rooms on the northwest corner of the building. They have sort of a hard time keeping up with temperatures in the wintertime. So that's all I got.
Any questions for Ben?
I'm just curious what city staff is, like, who controls that? Who sees the interface and
It would
has to
be,
learn how to use it?
yeah, it would be the government building staff, so like Josh Worrell and some of his maintenance staff control that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Soon to be the most powerful man on staff in
Yeah.
City Hall.
Very selfishly, we have it.
Thank you. Anyone from the public like to address this topic?
Mary.
Please state your name and city you're from. And also, if you're online, please raise your virtual hand and I'll call upon you if you wish to address this topic.
My name is Mary Gravitt, Iowa City, and I'm a member of the Senior Center. If you go above the ground floor, you'll freeze your ass off. That building is never warm. And I remember when the air conditioner was replaced, then it got hot. I mean, it got insufferably hot because the building is so old. You know, old post office and everything. But the sooner the better, because believe it or not, winter in Iowa lasts until after June. To July, you got summer. But we fool ourselves with all these outdoor festivals, the art festival. You can't stay there half a day or the wind will blow you away. The senior center is for seniors, and us old folks need some heat. We don't need any excess air conditioning, because when you can tell when something is going on there with the system, the door on the ground floor has to be propped open so they can get some air in there. But like I say, we need that, and we need it right away. And ever since Craig retired, he used to nurse all the systems along. And when in the assembly room, it's got a false ceiling. And so one winter, the pipe burst and the water came down and flooded out everything, but he took care of all of that. But the idea is that it's old, it needs attention, and we don't need that much air conditioning. And this time, if you get somebody to do the work, don't let the software disappear. I have heard, the line, old folks gossip, that the reason there's so much trouble there is that the software is lost. But we need some heat. And I mean, not everybody needs heat, but I know I need heat because it's cold in this room for me. So when you hire these people and they bid and they give you all these cheap bids, you got to watch them. And I hope we get this work done soon, before I die anyway, so because I like to visit there. All my friends are there. And we socialize there, especially on Monday when we have our food bank. And that's because Natasha opens it up to the public. Everybody, and table to table contributes, and we go there and we gossip. And, you got to have your age group company. Young people don't understand. They don't remember nothing. And you bring up a conversation with them, they know a little bit, but they don't know the real story behind anything. But I hope you treat the senior center right and get the job done and be careful. And don't lose the software this time so that we can keep the system going. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address this topic? Seeing no one in person or online, council discussion?
It's good stuff.
I agree with.
Hopefully improve operational efficiency, energy efficiency, and also alert us if something's not working, so.
Mayor, I'm not sure we have a motion on the floor
Oh,
yet.
moved. Mo.
Second.
Oh, wait, sorry. That's right. This is a public hearing. So I'm going to close the public hearing after no one else is speaking. All right. Now can I get a motion to approve?
Happy to move for approval.
Second.
All right. Moved by Mo, seconded by Salah. Council discussion.
What he said. Yep.
Still good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
What she said.
Roll call, please.
Harmson?
Yes.
Mo?
Yes.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Alter?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Started talking about heat and elderly people, It's important. 9D, Mercer Pool Roof Replacement Project Resolution approving project manual and estimate of cost for the construction of the Mercer pool roof replacement project. Establish an amount of bid security to accompany each bid, directing city clerk to post notice to bidders, and fixing time and place for receipt of bids. I'm going to open the public hearing and welcome Ben again.
Okay. Ben Clark, Engineering Division. So
You raise the mic up now?
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. There you go.
Traveling mic.
So it's a pretty straightforward project. We're just going to replace the roof over this pool at Mercer Aquatic Center. So it'll be a complete tear down, new insulation, and a new roof. The cost is $655,000 estimated, and we take bids July 1st, hoping to award on your one meeting in July on the 8th. And then one important milestone date would be the September 5th. So in order to do this work, they'll have to drain the pool for regular maintenance, and we want to have it filled back up for the swimming season. So that's all I got.
All right. Any questions?
How long's the warranty?
It's a good question. I don't remember if it's 10 or 20 or 30, but there is a warranty.
Yeah.
And I apologize, you said the milestone date, is that the start date?
The milestone date is the date that they have to have all of the work done, any work that would produce dust, so that they can fill the pool by that date.
Okay, so approximately how long will the pool be closed?
I believe it'll be closed for maybe a couple weeks, and at that time, they'll be doing routine maintenance anyway, cleaning the pool.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions. Thank you. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Please come forth at this time. If you're online, please raise your virtual hand. See no one in person or online. I'm going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Alter.
Second.
Moved by Alter, seconded by Wyline. Council discussion?
I guess my only thought regarding this is I think it's kind of unfortunate that we have two pools closed at the same time over the summer with, you know what I mean? If the roof needs to be replaced, it needs to be replaced. I'm not saying don't replace it. I guess, I don't know. It's just something I thought about when I read through the packet, and if we think that that is something that, you know, members of the community are going to be exceedingly mad about, I don't know.
Any other comments?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm just thinking, like, what are the risks of not, leaks are actually the least problem. Getting water in your walls and in your electrical conduits and stuff is really problematic. So
Having tiles fall on you while you're swimming.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not, that happened
you're
at
not
the
wrong that
old
it's a
field
problem.
house.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just have to go to Coralville.
Oh, well, we have
Robert
one.
A.
One is still open.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, the Robert A. Lee Center.
Yes. All right. No other comments? Roll call, please.
Mo? Yes. Sella?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Alter?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. 9E, Water Service Agreement, Hidden Lakes. Resolution authorizing the mayor to sign and the city clerk to attest an agreement to provide water service to the proposed Hidden Lakes subdivision. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Mo.
Second, Alter.
All right, and then Jeff Ruin. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm going to start with a little bit of history here. Back in 2017, the City Council approved a water service agreement with the Lucina Meadows subdivision. Lucina Meadows is not located in the city limits of the city of Iowa City. It's a rural subdivision south of town in Johnson County. It's not contiguous. It was not contiguous at that time. It still is not contiguous with the city. And it's outside of our designated growth area. So I think you all probably have seen before with various items that not only do we have our corporate limits, but we also have expected growth areas. And those growth areas have meaning on the types of regulations the county puts on development. So we're anticipating that those will eventually come into the city. Again, Lucina Meadows was outside of our growth area at the time. At the request of the Department of Natural Natural Resources back in 2017, we were asked to allow for city water to serve the Lucina Meadows subdivision because of radionuclides being present in their water wells, essentially a public health concern that they did not feel that there was another solution to be able to address. So the way that worked in 2017 is the Lucina Meadows property owners paid for, along with the DNR. The DNR, I think, provided some sort of loan or grant to the subdivision. They paid for the extension of the city water main. We didn't have any capital expenditure. They paid for it to be extended from the city limits down to their subdivision, and we agreed to maintain that over time. The residents there in rural Johnson County that are utilizing our water pay 1.5 times the rate that residents in Iowa City pay. So they're paying a premium for that water. So that brings us to today. That's the history. We have a water main that extends down Naples Avenue south of town. There is a new subdivision in rural Johnson County that's being planned. It's called Hidden Lakes. It is just north of Lucina Meadows. So it's adjacent to Lucina Meadows, and it happens to be located right next to where that water main was extended. Just like Lucina Meadows, Hidden Lakes is not contiguous to Iowa City. They do not have the ability to annex into our community. They're located about a half mile outside of our jurisdiction. And similar to Lucina Meadows, they are not, the Hidden Lakes area is not in our growth area. As the subdivision was being planned, the DNR stepped in. We had a meeting with DNR, and they said, it would certainly prevent a lot of problems down the road if they could tap into the water main and not risk that future wells would become contaminated with the similar types of problems that their neighbors at Lucina Meadows had. So staff considered it, and we ultimately worked on the agreement that's in front of you, and I'll just tell you a little bit about that agreement. Again, the city is not paying for any water main extension, so the water main that needs to be tapped into is already there, was paid for by Lucina Meadows. The Hidden Lakes developer will pay all the cost associated with building the mains to serve the future residents of this rural subdivision. The residents will pay the 1.5 times the water rate that Lucina Meadows pays. And then there's two additional fees that are in this water service agreement. The first is $225,000 payment to the water fund that will offset the cost of a future loop. All right, so when you're constructing a water system, you try to avoid dead ends as much as possible because you can get stagnant water in those. You kind of have to maintain those a little bit more, so we like to have constant loops as well. We don't have a loop on that south side, but we do have a plan for how we would like to loop that. Basically under 218 over towards the Ryerson Woods area is the ultimate south loop that we'd like to create. So they're going to contribute $225,000 towards the future construction of that loop. And then a similar $225,000 fee that recognizes that the residents of this future subdivision will take advantage of a lot of the city amenities that are funded with property taxes, and yet acknowledging that they won't be paying city property taxes, they'll be paying county property taxes. So that second $225,000 would go to the general fund to help support all of the services that we would provide. That's a basic overview of the agreement. We do have one change to the agreement, and I'll let the city attorney walk you through that.
Thank you. So the version of the agreement in your packet was inadvertently presented in that it is an older version of the agreement. There has since been changes, so we apologize for that. What I'll be doing is offering or asking council to offer a motion to amend to the revised version, a copy of which is already in possession of the city clerk and which has been signed by the developer who is present, if there's any questions about that. If If I may, if this is the appropriate time, Mayor, I don't know if you want to kind of discuss the agreement in a more holistic way first and then hear my proposed change, or if you would like to go ahead and have me address that now.
You can go ahead and address it now.
Okay. Sure. So there are two changes to the agreement as presented. The first is in paragraph 10. There's some language in the second paragraph that reads as follows. Owner and city shall enter into a water main easement agreement for such access within 60 days after the county supervisor's approval of the preliminary plat for the proposed subdivision of the property. The location of the easement area shall be within the utility, quote, utility easement, close quote, as shown on the preliminary plat. We propose to remove that, well, the agreement is to remove that language as that is essentially addressed in the second to last sentence of paragraph 8. The other is, I'll say, more significant, and that's the insertion of a new paragraph 15 entitled Voluntary Annexation, which reads as follows. Owner agrees to voluntarily annex all property within the subdivision into the city when the corporate limits of the city are adjacent to the subdivision, and the city, in its sole discretion, is able to provide city services to the subdivision. Like all other provisions in this agreement, this provision shall run with the land and bind successors in interest, close quote. So what I would ask of council is to approve a motion to amend those two changes as just outlined.
So moved. Mo. Second, Harmson.
Okay. Moved by Mo, seconded by Harmson. And we'll get to our council discussion in a little bit. Wondering if there's anyone from the public that want to address this at this time.
And you're talking about the motion to amend, Mayor, or the agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, seeing no one in person or online. Great. All right. So, council discussion.
Just about the amendment?
Yes. Hearing none. All right, roll call, please.
Sala?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Alter?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Mo?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. All right. So, essentially, we have to, because we just did the amendment, now we have to go back to the original with the
underlying-
amendment.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
As
great.
amended, that's right.
Yes, all right. Any further discussion by council?
I probably had an inappropriate amount of conversations with our city manager about this, just because I don't think any of us want to create a non-city component within the city someday in the future, but I think this is crafted in a way that'll prevent that and help neighbors out. But whenever we have private, the reason it's such a big deal is because we have parts of the city that are now adjacent to us. It's nearly impossible to incorporate because they don't meet our standards. And when they install less than standard infrastructure and we have to attach to them, it just is disastrous for the people who purchase those properties in the future. And you end up with a very difficult situation. So this feels like we're set up for success for both parties. So I'll be voting yes.
I was just going to ask if you can speak briefly to how you came up with how the agreement was reached for the $225,000, sort of acknowledging use of services.
Yeah, it's difficult. There's no great way to quantify it, but it was determined, I think, to be a reasonable charge, knowing that ultimately the developer is going to pass that along to the residents, and I believe, I'll look for a head nod here, 50 lots, is that what is planned? 50 lots, so on a per lot basis, we just felt like that was a fair contribution. There's no standard for doing this. We've never done this before. We didn't ask of this of Lucina Meadows because they had the capital cost of extending the main. So just felt like it was a reasonable number to request.
Seems like a good deal for the developer, I'll just say that.
I was just asking, when I looked at the Hidden Lakes neighborhood, it looked like this is mostly single-family homes that seem to be all very much the same, correct?
It's not a built subdivision right now. The plans are still going through the Johnson County approval process, so nothing is constructed now. The developer is here and can answer questions about the future development, but there's nothing built at this time.
I was just curious about kind of like the target demographic of people who are going to be buying these homes. What types of homes are going to be?
Yep, you could request, Aaron Klosterman is the developer, and then Ron Amelon from MMS, both here, and probably best for them to answer.
If you don't mind, I would, thank you.
Hi, I'm Aaron Klosterman, one of the developers of Hidden Lakes. To answer your question on what types of homes, originally the goal was to try to address the housing needs for like the West High School District. It's pretty close in proximity to several elementaries and the high school there. Whether or not, teachers and administrators with that school, it just looked like a great place to, do some infill and address some housing needs. The houses that will be there will be, the single-family residences associated with, somebody that maybe would like to be a little bit further away from the hustle and bustle of the city, kind of a, country setting, so to speak. And then to Ms. Burgess, to address it's actually more inexpensive to do like a public well in that location because your standards are less as far as water main and things like that. What happened was when we went through the research to do this, we're so far into the project, and what we ran into was that the DNR strongly recommended that this type of contamination will not show up. It could not show up for a year to 2 years and things of that nature. So, what I was wanting to do is prevent a problem for future residents and getting the chance to understand a little bit more about what the neighboring properties had went through to do that. It was one of those things where would be the best use of our funds would be to contribute it to the city of Iowa City since the water main is already there. And so, it was actually more of an expensive venture for us, but I think it's going to prevent a lot of problems for 50 people or 50 families down the road. So hopefully that answers the questions you might have, and if anybody else has any.
No, thank you.
Okay.
And that doesn't cost the city anything, right?
Correct. We are not paying any infrastructure costs. The developers will pay all the typical fees that they would, connection fees, meter fees, all that sort of thing, and they'll pay all the infrastructure costs. So the benefit to us is not only the 2 fees that I described, but we'll actually be getting more water revenue for our water fund. And then I think I mentioned this in the staff report. There are some maintenance benefits. Again, this is a long dead-end main that doesn't have a whole lot of users at the end. The more users, the more water circulation there is, and that's ultimately better for the maintenance of the main as well. So a lot of positives for the city, but acknowledge this is a very non-traditional situation, and this is not something that, absent the public health concern that arose in Lucina Meadows, that we have ever considered before, or nor that I would recommend that we consider in the future. Obviously, when there's public health concerns, I think in 2017, and I would stick with that decision today, we felt if we have an ability to help, we should.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I was getting at is, it seems like this is, I feel like as a city, we would love to be able to do some more progressive taxing, but, we are beholden by the state government to do more like local option sales tax. And per our conversations a bunch in the past, Eric, we can't discriminate when it comes to housing, different types of housing, having different expenses.
Right. I know you're speaking about utility charges and so
Yes.
forth, and you're right. There's a state code provision that indicates that we cannot charge what the term they use is discriminatory rates.
Yeah.
That is charging different people different rates based on some characterization of them.
Which is what I was saying. It seems like this is a type of neighborhood where, like what was said, like administrators of like a school might be living in just a little bit like higher costs. So I was wondering, because it is outside of Iowa City, that makes us able to charge them more for water, or is it just because it's part of a private agreement?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I follow now. That's an interesting question. I haven't researched that, but I think the answer to your question is yes, because it's not anything that we're required to provide. They're not within the city limits and so forth, and so I think we have the ability to charge as we wish.
Okay. Have we considered looking into the 1.5 number and discussing what that, if that could, if it's appropriate to raise it, if it's appropriate where it's at, just due to the fact that we have the ability to do it at this time?
Yeah, I don't know that I can answer that. That's not my call. A different number would be legal, but I'll let the city manager address how we came to that number.
Yeah, so that's what the residents of University Heights pay as well, that access our water. When we did the 2017 agreement with Lacina, I can recall having those discussions, whether 1.5 was enough, and at that time, we landed that 50% increase of the water rate is reasonable. I think I'd stick with that. Yes, we could do more. I think if we do that, I'd want to think about how that can or can't apply to the Lacina folks and the University Heights residents as well. But generally, we felt 1.5 was fair. It's significant, a 50% increase, but I understand where you're coming from as well.
Okay. We can talk about that more. Something I was thinking about.
And I guess I remember we talked about it at like in our small meeting. I remember also there is a reason why we cannot even annex them, because there is another community in between.
Yeah, they're not contiguous to the city, so the boundaries from Hidden Lakes, if you take the northern boundary of what will be the future Hidden Lake subdivision, you've got to travel about half a mile north to hit the city boundary. So you can only annex property that is contiguous to the city, meaning that there's multiple property owners in between that would have to say yes as well. And frankly, we're not ready to annex down there. If you think about just the services we'd have to provide, running fire, police, and snow plows and that sort of thing, we're just not quite ready for that as a city. We're probably decades off. And again, that's kind of how we start to look at that growth area I talked about. What is that kind of next level of city growth? And this is falling outside of that. So this would be far, far down the road. But at some point in time, there probably will be annexation considerations, and that's why the amendment that you approved earlier, just foreshadowing that situation, was really important to us.
And the houses or the property that you said in between, are they using city water or are they going to?
No. Those are agricultural fields, and they're not using any city water. The only residents using this water main that was extended down Naples is from that Lacina subdivision. It also moves in. I think the subdivision changes names as it crosses Dane Roads. I think
Meadowview, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Meadowview Lane. I think it's Woodland Ridge or something like that. But it's for intents and purposes, it just kind of looks like Lacina extended across Dane Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Woodland Ridge. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
All right, so again, this is the underlying motion as amended. Teague?
Yes.
Wyline?
Yes.
Alter?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Harmson?
Yes.
Mo?
Yes.
Sala?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is council appointments. 10A is Housing and Community Development Commission. So this is 2 vacancies to fill an unexpired term upon appointment through June 30th. Now, we just did the, I think it was 6A.
Yeah.
Under, yeah.
Or
6.
where we,
Consent agenda.
under the
6,
consent.
yeah.
Oh, 6C, under the consent agenda with the staggering terms. So we're going to be at 7 members, and in this first one, 10A, we only have to appoint 1 person. And there are, and then when we get to 10B, we'll have to appoint 2 people.
And Mayor, I apologize, I didn't say this during clarification of agenda items. One of my colleagues is on the list, so I believe I should recuse myself.
Okay, great. All right. So why don't, and then there's 2 different
Different lists of people.
list of people as well that we have to consider. So we'll do these separately. So let's work with 10A, and there are
7.
7.
You said there needs to be
7.
one.
One
this?
person.
One from this list.
One from this list.
Normally, I put forward like, because we have engaged people who want to be on these commissions to try to rotate, but there has been a difficult patch of getting people to get to quorum. So I would actually recommend Caleb Benning. He's served on HCDC before. He's been a consistent member. I believe he actually served as chair at one time. I think he would be a good candidate, but
If I may, I believe he would be an excellent candidate, but he's such a good candidate that he was just appointed to planning and zoning.
That's right.
Yes.
I thought the same thing, and I was like, that sounds so familiar.
sorry,
Yeah.
it completely, oh, you know why? Because I was not at that one. I was listening to my daughter at a concert, so I missed that meeting.
Yes.
Thank you for helping.
Lots of really good applicants. I also noticed Sarah Murray's application, public health expert, so sort of social determinants of health might be closely related to HCDC work.
Good point.
That's,
and Daphne Daniel then also has legal work with Iowa Legal Aid, and those came to the top in my mind. But there's also lots of other great.
Indeed. But I'd be okay with either one of those. I do think, yeah, I agree with you. I think the social determinants of health and environmental conditions is interesting.
That's Sarah?
Sarah.
Sarah, yeah.
Okay.
Sarah Murphy?
Yes.
Marie, yeah.
Murray, yes, sorry. All right, sound like we have a majority for Sarah Murray.
Marie, yeah.
Can I get a motion to approve her or them for the HCDC? This would be for 10B, and this would.
For
One
10A?
vacant to
10A.
Oh, 10A, yes, 10A. And this is going to be from appointment through June 30th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a motion to appoint,
I'll
please?
move,
So move.
yeah, and I'll second.
All right, moved by Salah, seconded by Mo. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Now we're on to 10B, which is the Housing and Community Development Commission. 2 vacancies to fill 3 terms. And this is going to be July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. This is for 2 people.
I really want to do Tom Rocklin.
Me
Yes.
too.
I agree.
I like Tom very much, and Mary Ann Dennis also.
And actually, sort of same reason, she's been stalwart and
Yeah.
fantastic on the
Great.
commission.
Yep,
Yeah, that was my second one too.
good.
Yeah. Tom and Marianne Dennis.
So it sound like, do we have a majority for those 2? Sounds
Yes.
like yes. All right, great. So we will get a motion to give the 2 appointments to Tom Rockland and Mary Ann Dennis. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Harmson.
Second, Mo? Oh, sure, whatever.
All right, seconded by Mo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right.
Pay the power bill on that?
Rooting in the dark back there.
Okay. 10C, Public Art Advisory Committee. Public Art Advisory Committee has one vacancy to fill an unexpired term upon appointment through December 31st, 2025. And council discussion. There are 4 people.
I just want to say this was like a knockout for people.
Yeah.
Like, this was
Yeah.
tremendous. Each person really brought a host of experience that would be really welcome on the committee.
I think we recently appointed James Davies or David Davies to planning and zoning, so we can
Okay.
work through the list that way.
All right.
Yeah.
I liked Stephanie Brunia.
I liked her a lot. I also thought Aaron Mosley, based that he has a perspective with the work that he does with adults and art therapy that I thought was interesting. But I also really appreciated Stephanie Brunia.
Aaron Mosley definitely reached out to me for the same for the same reason. So either Aaron or Stephanie is good with me.
Yeah, again, I think it's going to be really hard because of all the different,
Yeah.
things that they bring. But I can support either one. But I think since, it's hard. But I can support Stephanie if we're looking for majority vote at this point.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
So Stephanie Brunia, can I get a motion to appoint, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Berger, seconded by Alter. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right. We are on to item number 11, announcements of vacancies previous. Community Police Review Board, one vacancy to fill an unexpired term upon appointment through June 30th, 2027. Human Rights Commission, one vacancy to fill an unexpired term upon appointment through December 31st, 2025. Applications must be received by 5 p.m. Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. Airport Zoning Board of Adjustment, one vacancy to fill a 5-year term. Airport Zoning Commission, one vacancy to fill a 6-year term. Board of Appeals HVAC Professional, one vacancy to fill an unexpired term. Historic Preservation Commission Brown Street, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission Jefferson Street, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission Jefferson Street, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission Summit Street, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission Woodlawn Avenue, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Vacancies will remain open until filled. And we are at number 12, City Council information.
I had an opportunity to travel with Greater Iowa City, Inc. and the Cedar Rapids Economic Alliance and discuss regional priorities with our federal representatives. We did meet with Senator Grassley and Representative Miller Meeks. Ms. Ernst did not join us. But they did give us time, and we were able to talk about things that are important to our area. And I do feel like they are advocates for infrastructure spending, so that was a place we can talk about that. And they also seem to be allies for NIH, NASA, and NSF funding, which are really important to the University of Iowa. There's, of course, some catches there, but they were willing to listen and understand the value of those priorities to our community.
Okay, I just would like to talk. If you don't know, this week is Refugees Week. It started on the 16th and ending on the 20th. The Refugees Day is in the 20th. I'm speaking not only as a city council member, but as someone who once walked the very path so many refugees walk today. I know what it means to arrive in a new place with hope, fear, and uncertainty, and how much is matter when a community chooses to welcome you, not just with word, but with action. The theme this year is community as a superpower. I have seen the power, I have lived it, And it is the reason I'm here today. When we show up for each other, when neighbors, teachers, faith leaders, and city staff come together to help someone find housing, job, or simply a sense of belonging, we are not just supporting individuals, we are strengthening our whole city. So today, I ask all of us to set up support refugees and immigrants communities. You can donate to local organizations, volunteer your time, speak up for inclusive policies. Because in a time when division and fear are too easy to reach for, community is the boldest superpower we have. Let us use it to lift each other up and to make Iowa City a home for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I recently went to New York City for the conference on advancing the field of alternative response. It was an extremely informative and refreshing event to go to. Lots of questions when we talk about mobile crisis response. So many of those issues were addressed at this, and I'm still working through typing up a more long-form summary. But lots of important connections, I think, were made. I think Iowa City was put on the map by our presence being there. Like I said, lots of connections with professionals that are, ahead of us and can give us really, really good insight on best practices moving forward with implementation. Specifically, we're talking about embedding folks within the JEC, and there's many places that have already done that, and they know what's worked, they know what hasn't. And so I'm just happy that a lot of this work has already been done and we can learn from it. So yeah, it was very fun.
Great. All right, we're going to move on to item number 13, reports on items from city staff, city manager's office, city attorney.
Nothing for me, thank you.
City clerk. All right. Item number 14. Now, remember, we're adjourning back to work session, but we will take a 10-minute break.
Yes,
All
please.
right. So can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alter, seconded by Sala. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned from our formal meeting.